Okay, friends, today we're going to learn about landmark notes. Now, you have learned that this is called a treble clef, but it actually has another name too. It's also called the G clef. And the reason for that is that this clef shows us where the G line is. You may have seen before something that looks like this that is a target. Maybe if you've ever taken archery, you've seen a target and you shoot your arrow and you try to hit the center of that bullseye target. Well, the G clef sort of makes a target too, right here. You can see my blue circle, and then here is the bullseye in the middle. That bullseye sits right on the G line. So the treble clef, or the G clef, shows us where the G line is. And if we put a note on that line, then the name of that note is G. There is a G. Alrighty, I'm going to erase that now and just let you look at it without the drawing. There's our bullseye and there's our G. Let's talk about the bass clef. The bass clef has another name too. Sometimes we call it the F clef, and now I bet you can guess why. It's because it shows us where the F line is. Here is sort of a button right here that starts off the bass clef, then it comes around, and then we have two dots. I like to call those the baseballs. And those two baseballs and the dot help to show us where the F line is. This line is F. And if we put a note on that line, then that note is F. Make sense? Okay, I'm going to erase all of my crazy drawing now so that you can just see the G clef that shows us where G is, the F clef that shows us where F is. Now take a look at this dotted line in the middle. That's the little extra line for middle C. It's there all the time. It's just invisible. That's why it's dotted on the magnet board here. It goes away until we need it. And then when we need it, we just draw it in. When a note sits right there on that middle line, it's middle C. Now, sometimes the treble clef staff and the bass clef staff are a little farther apart. And so when we want to play the middle C with the right hand, then that middle C line just floats up to being right under the treble clef staff. And if we need a stem on our note, our stem would go up. If we want to play that middle C with the left hand, then that little extra invisible line just floats down toward the bass clef staff. The note would have a down stem, and our middle C would be for the left hand. So guess what? Middle C is right in the middle. You have probably already learned that the key for middle C is right in the middle of the piano, but our middle C note is right in the middle of the staff, right in the middle of the grand staff. The treble clef is on top and the bass clef staff is on bottom. So there you go. Those are our landmark notes. Treble G, bass F, middle C. We want to know those super well so that we can use them to name other notes. Let's notice something else about our G and our F. If we start from this middle dotted line and we count the lines up, that G is sitting on the second line from the middle. If we start in the middle and we count the lines down to F, that F is on the second line from the middle. So you may not know that word symmetry, but there's symmetry here. Right now, we have a landmark note that's right in the middle of the grand staff. Then we have a landmark note that's two lines from the middle and a landmark note that's 2 lines from the middle in the other direction. All right, so study up on your bass F, your treble G, and your middle C.